First off, if you like Red Dead Redemption, then you should subscribe to the channel because you are definitely among the right crowd. Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of those overwhelmingly immersive games where you get super involved in the world around you. There's so much to do, and so much to explore, so many unique people to meet, and dialogues to unlock. But what makes the game so overwhelmingly enjoyable is that you don't have to do any of it. There are way too many open-world quest-based games out there that give you a false illusion of true immersion. You're really not allowed to pick what you want to do. Like for example, the Borderlands series. It gets to a point in the Borderlands series to where you're playing the story and then you have to stop playing the story and you are forced to go back and play side quests in order to level up so you can get back to playing the story. So in that game, if you'd rather be fighting Handsome Jack and his various minions, you're stuck, I don't know, gathering car parts for Scooter or something just because you need the experience to level up so you can get back to playing the story. Meanwhile, games like Red Dead Redemption simply do not care what you do. You get to pick your own adventure. If you want to do the story completely through, go for it. You can beat the entire game using the base model stuff that you're given. However, if you want to pimp out the latest and greatest guns, go for it. You're allowed to do that too. If you want to just abandon everything and go out and quest on your own to go hunt dinosaur bones, you're allowed to do that as well. The game does not care what you do. The true immersion from a game like Red Dead Redemption comes from the player's ability to actually be able to decide what it is that they feel like doing. The entire game is based around what a player decides to do. You can choose to do side quests, you can choose to do the main storyline. You can choose to ignore all of the quests and just go off and do whatever it is you feel like doing. The game does not care. The ability to actually make decisions for ourselves versus being forced to do something else in order to continue with the decisions that we have already made in games like this are what makes other games like Skyrim and Grand Theft Auto such a legendary return to style of game. That's why people go back to them so often. Meanwhile, titles that have you walk away from the storyline to do some random nonsense so you can actually go back to playing the storyline tend to fall out of favor after just a couple of years of launch. Now, there are other excellent games out there with a ton of player choice-based progression, such as No Man's Sky or Subnautica, or insert your choice of game that falls into this category. However, the main reason that games like this are not based on the same level like games like Red Dead Redemption is that games like Red Dead Redemption offer a sense of direction. You don't have to follow it, but that sense of direction is still there. Versus other player choice games, which normally just drop a player off in a random world that they know absolutely nothing about, many of it just randomly generated, and it leaves them to explore and try to figure things out. Meanwhile, games like Red Dead Redemption give a clear line of direction that you are capable of following. You can continue to follow that direction and the interactions around it, or you can decide to ignore them completely. Following these directions are not necessary, but they are always there. Whether we want to admit it or not, there is a realm of fantasy that Red Dead Redemption brings to the table that adds to its popularity. There is enough people willing to immerse themselves in a simpler time for the game's status to become one that other legendary games are compared to. Red Dead Redemption is one of those games where there are moments in the game that are just completely unpredictable. Moments where you may gain a lot or lose everything. Moments where you have to make choices to leave everything behind or try to get it back. There are even moments where you go to other existing maps beyond the map that you already know. There is too much to explore in Red Dead Redemption for anyone to have memorized everything. There will always be something new to find or something new to witness. No matter how you feel about the game, it took the gaming community by storm. It has a bit of everything for all types of people to enjoy. If you like old guns, like myself, absolutely, that's there. If you like camping and the outdoors, plenty of that going on. If you like stuff that is, from historical times, guess what? This is from the 1800s. If you like archaeology, guess what? They got that in there too. If you like boating, if you like fashion, you want to dress yourself accordingly. If you like animals, if you like farming and herbology, and so on, it is all in the game for you to enjoy. All in all, Red Dead Redemption is one of those games that I do not expect to fall into the void like so many other legendary titles for quite some time. People like myself just regularly return for the experience that the game has to offer time and time again. When we're done with our desire of immersion, there are tons of mods and aftermarket support to basically turn the game into something completely different. I definitely do not plan to stop gaming anytime in the future, especially with Red Dead Redemption being one of my absolute all-time favorite main go-to games. By the time I get bored with doing one thing in the game, 10 other things have popped up. I could decide to do those 10 things, or I could decide to ignore them completely. I could decide to mod the game, show up like a god, or I could decide to just play the game the way it was originally regularly intended to. The beauty about this game is I get to pick literally everything that I do. All in all, this might be one of the absolute greatest games ever produced, and the only way that it would fall out of favor and be overshadowed by something else is if something else even better popped up, which is absolutely something that excites me to my very core. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed what you saw, and hopefully you enjoy the game as well. All this being said, I think I'm done here, and I think I've made my point. You guys go off, have a fantastic day.